Yeah, so I just gave a beautiful introduction, but nobody heard it because I didn't put this on the screen. So
We missed
yeah,
it.
so what I was saying was that we got Obi Toppin here. We're gonna be talking about some articles or whatever, and just going down that whole rabbit hole, man. Um, like I said, here we got my man Apollo Reed here
Yes, sir.
from the
What's
God Up
going on,
Knicks
bro?
podcast.
Yes, sir.
Thanks for coming in last minute, man. You know how
You
I
know
do.
that's you know I'm good with the last minute. I hit you last minute too. We do the same thing.
Yeah. Yeah, man. We dads, man. We just finished bonding about how we like to abuse our children and stuff because they don't like to listen and stuff.
Yeah, child abuse and diet Dr. Pepper was what we was talking about.
Yeah. No, we don't abuse our kids. We both love our kids, man.
Yeah,
Being a dad is a big responsibility, man. But we got to talk about these Knicks, right?
my other kids.
Yeah, man. Yeah. So once again, this is God of Knicks. Put this up here so you guys can see it. You can
Mm-hmm.
look in the top right corner too. You'll see his logo. So please go check him out. When you get a chance.
My man,
So
my
anyway,
man.
yeah. So anyway, I'm gonna say what I said to tell everyone what I said to you. Bleacher Report. They did like an article about every team's regrets. So I was anxious to see what they had to say about that, man. So I'll
Uh-huh.
just put it up here. You want to get you want to anticipate what they're going to say to the Knicks. So you're just going through all the different names and stuff. So you're
Right.
starting to as you look at the list, you'll see stuff that you might agree with, or something that might be a little bit too crazy. So this is on the screen now. So this is start from the beginning. The Atlanta Hawks, the Rajon Rondo and Chris Dunn signings.
Mm.
That was a big waste because Rondo was supposed to have been their big backup guy to to help out Trey Young, and
Mm-hmm.
that didn't work out. Chris
Yeah.
Dunn he didn't play until like the playoffs, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Damn. Yeah. Actually, did he play in the playoffs? Or he played a few minutes
Yeah, like towards the end because of injuries and stuff like that.
because of injuries. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Wow.
uh, yeah. They talking about Boston. They could have got Hayward with that trade exemption, but they didn't use it.
Hmm. What was that?
How
Go ahead. Go ahead.
well they had a trade exemption for Hayward. You know what I'm saying? But they could have used that to get a player, but they didn't. They ended up just getting this guy.
Fournier.
What's
Yeah.
his name? Fournier. Yeah, Fournier
Yeah.
for the two second round picks. But they could have used that thing for like a big player,
Yeah.
to help out the team.
That would have made a lot more sense.
Yeah, man. So that's just like a quick little thing about what they're saying about each team. There's a lot of thought put into these choices,
Mm-hmm.
but we don't care about those guys. This is a Knicks podcast, so we're gonna go down to the meat down here after New Orleans. New Orleans was extending Steve Adams. That was stupid. You know what I'm saying? Because
Oh yeah.
they got to they got to pay their big guys. So why would they give him money to do what? It's essentially Mitchell Robinson without blocking shots. So that
My
was a
thing
big
is
waste of money.
when you got Zion, like, and you got to build around Zion, and it's very very imperative that you put the right pieces around him. I don't rush for those kind of contracts. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know, extension for Steve Adams. That was wild.
Yeah,
That was wild.
that's like Tyson Chandler. That's how I feel about Tyson. Because
Yeah.
we had an opportunity to add to Melo and Amari, but we put a lot of money in Tyson Chandler.
Right.
That kind of
Right.
messed things up because we could have got anybody to do what Tyson Chandler did.
I mean, it's especially because it didn't really amount to anything, and then he ended up injured, especially the last stretch. He really wasn't here. Wasn't that last year? He really didn't play much, and then what happened? He had a death in the family, and he was away for a while, and some stuff like that. So there was a lot that went
Yeah,
on with Tyson in that last year and all that. I don't know.
it was weird.
That was just a weird time.
Yeah, but with a guy that can't like create his own shot and stuff like that, it always kind of like a big waste for that
Yeah.
thing for when Tyson was here. So this is the meat right here. This is what Bleacher Report said for the Knicks that taking Obi Toppin number 8 overall. So initially, when they say that about Obi Toppin, what do you think about that?
I'm usually big on point of view, and I guess it depends on how you're looking at it. But I mean, there's no real way to say that it would have that it played out well. There's no real way to say that it played out well for Obi Toppin. Um, not at his fault, but just because he didn't get the minutes that he needed to showcase his talent. We saw it towards the end of the season what Obi had in the playoffs because he got minutes in the playoffs, so he had to be doing something right. But yeah, I wouldn't say that it was a waste. I don't regret it because I'm not sure on the future or what the front office views for Julius Randle for the future for long term. You know what I mean? So if I don't know their plans for Julius Randle long term, if they don't have long term plans with Julius Randle and it's more like the next 2 to 3 years kind of thing, I'm not sure, but it seems as though that they're going to be running with Julius Randle at the helm or at least one of your best players. So it doesn't seem like there's going to be a lot of minutes for Obi unless you start playing him at the 5 or something. Something opens up somewhere where he can play more minutes, but he needs to play more minutes. Even if he comes off the bench playing 30 minutes a game, 20, 28, 25 minutes a game somehow, he's got to do it. But I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, Julius Randle playing the way he plays kind of threw a wrench in everything because I think they drafted Obi Toppin with the intentions of getting rid of Julius Randle. But I
For
guess
sure.
as the summer went along, they see his development, his engagement, the way that he's playing. They
Hmm.
even asked him input on what to do with the coach and stuff, whether or not they like Tom Thibodeau, on a
Right.
couple other things too that I remember they were talking about. So they started
Right.
using him for input. So then now you start to overlap what you thought, I guess what they thought they were gonna do with Obi, and then what they
Hmm.
ended up doing with Obi. You know what I'm saying? The two thought processes kind of changed quickly.
Right.
So I can see where they're coming from with the whole regret thing because
Hmm.
I'm looking at the draft around where we picked Obi. We could have picked Denny.
Yeah.
We actually could have. Well, I don't like to talk about trading up because I'm not really. You have you have to get into the head of some of these GMs. So
Right.
I don't really know what these guys are thinking half the time too because none of these guys know what the hell they're doing. Not just the Knicks. There's other teams too.
Yeah.
Everyone's wanted Devin Vassell. Halliburton is a guy that I did not want. But he ended up being probably like one of the top rookies in the league. Kira Lewis, everybody had a hard on for. They could go down the line too. Cole Anthony, nobody wanted Cole Anthony in the Knicks market.
Right.
Nobody was really talking about him, but he ended up having a good year too. Any of these
Hmm.
guys you think we could have drafted?
If you're looking at this list here, you know what I mean. You're talking about people drafted after Obi.
Yeah.
Um, for sure, Tyrese Halliburton, just because of the guard thing. I mean, in hindsight, looking at how the system played, the season played out,
Mhm.
and the whole Alfred Payton thing, I'm still looking at. I'm looking at Tyrese Halliburton without a question. I'm still looking at Kyra Lewis, Cole Anthony, even. You know what I mean? Like it's someone who can at least put the ball in the basket, someone who's at least willing to play some team ball at that position, and something that you can build on. I think at a certain point they kind of knew that they were going to build with Alfred Payton, and then I think that's what started throwing a real wrench in things because even though he was only here for a season, when he started playing bad, it was like, all right, let's hurry up and end this. You know what I mean? And it didn't really, it didn't really get to turn into anything at the point guard position. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of guys there we still could have drafted. I mean, even outside of the point guard position, a big fan, like you said, Denny Adija. He was okay. He didn't do too much. Um, Isaiah Stewart was okay. There's a lot of guys, but I did like the one guy I did like out of all these people that are here is Sadiq Bey. He was the one guy that I think we could have used at the 3 spot. Aggressive guy, can shoot the three at a high clip. You know what I mean? At the high 30s. So yeah, I definitely would That would be the guy that I was go for because I wanted him before anyway. You know, I knew they weren't going to pick him at 8 because they just had to pick the best player available at that point. But you know, yeah, I would have went Sadiq.
Yeah, Sadiq, out of all these guys, he probably was like the most NBA ready guy.
Hmm.
But like we like everybody else, man. Everybody gets so hyped up into the into these mock drafts and stuff. So even like these NBA teams, they must be using the mock drafts as reference,
Yeah,
to figure out who they're gonna pick. Because we did a mock draft. It was me, you, and Knicks Community Podcast, and
right.
we had a lot of weird picks and stuff, and people were in the chat, and they're in the comments saying how stupid we are and stuff like that. But nobody knows. Nobody knows
Right.
what's going to happen as before the draft. Patrick Williams went pretty high for Chicago. Nobody knew that he was going to go there.
Right. Yeah, that threw a wrench in everyone's draft board.
Yeah, because I mean they needed a point guard, and then they went and drafted Patrick Ewing. I mean, Patrick Ewing, Lord have mercy, Patrick Williams and
Whew.
whatever.
Whew. I just got flashbacks to finger rolls and all of that, man.
Yeah, sorry about that, man. Detroit too. They drafted Killian Hayes. I don't really know about Killian Hayes. I don't know what position he is. You know, um, you know, yeah,
He's
we
one of
don't know
those
the
guys
answer.
that you don't really know. He's still young. He hasn't turned into. That was my thing with Killian. I think my biggest gripe with Killian was not knowing who the hell he was as a player because he was so young. Like you can just tell, like he was a kid. He was still a kid in his head. You know what I mean? I think wasn't he 17 when he got drafted?
Something like that, man. I mean, he still got like baby hair, like little hairs on his
Yeah.
head, like a baby and shit.
Yeah, he's
Yeah,
got a long way to go, but I think he'll be good. I think he'll be a good guard, whether it's a combo guard or not. But we'll see what happens, man. Too.
yeah. So I mean, for Detroit, I think they might, they can probably put him as regret. I didn't really look and see what their regret was, but that's for their team. But I think right off the bat is Halliburton. We missed the boat on Halliburton. Uh, you know, like you said, Cole Anthony's another guy, and Sadiq Bey. Those are guys that we could have
Right.
gotten that would have definitely been like somebody that we could actually use in the rotation and not forcing them to do things that they're not really capable of. You know.
Facts. Yeah, that's a fact. It's yeah. Actually, my boy Jelani, he was in the chat. He said the same thing. He said Cole Anthony would have been a great pickup. He got that swag that fits New York. I think that was something I thought was going to happen just because of the New York connection and Greg
Yeah.
Anthony. I kind of felt like that was going to happen at some point, but he fell. And then I think the scare was the injuries. But I still think Cole's going to be a good player. I still think Cole's going to be a good player. He's not going to be better than anybody else that I'm saying, but I think Cole's going to be a good player. He'll definitely be
Well, he
their starting point guard over the guy that they got now that they were worrying about for so long. What is his name?
yeah, I
The
can't think of
Orlando
his
Magic
name neither.
guard. Wow, the dude with the broken jump shot that fixed it in a little bit. Ah,
Yeah, I forgot his name too, man. Like it,
that's terrible.
oh, that's all these obscure names these guys have. Like Orlando. Has a team full of guys that just
You know,
they have like three of the same player. They have like every position they got to be like three deep in each position.
right?
What the hell is his name? I feel like I need to look it up now.
Yeah, it's
But it's not
bothering
really
me.
yeah,
It's
it's not really
bothering
important for the
me.
conversation, but just
Yeah.
for the simple fact that it's annoying the hell out of us. So I'm gonna just click Cole Anthony. I should have clicked Orlando. Ah man, let's see here. Orlando Magic. Yeah, I can see the name, but I just can't get it. Is anybody saying it in the chat?
Markel Fultz. Damn.
There you go,
Yeah, he
Marco
said in
Fultz.
the chat. He said in the chat. Yeah, Fultz. There you
Yeah,
go.
he's
We
probably
didn't even
saying
look at the chat.
folks, you idiot, folks.
Yeah, that's exactly what they said. There was like two of them.
Yeah,
Fultz, Markel. Yeah.
yeah,
My
but
bad.
I could totally see Cole Anthony starting over him, or maybe they can possibly start together because what's his name again? He's like 6'5", so
Markel
they could,
Fultz. Yeah.
yeah, Markel folks, they could possibly
I
play
mean,
together.
that'll be a strong backcourt if you can mold those guys right. I'm not sure how much they want to build on Markel Fultz in their backcourt next to Cole. But we'll see. I think when Marco went down with the injury and Cole stepped up, it showed that Cole really was ready for the moment. And then Cole got hurt too. But he came back and still was doing his thing.
Yeah, Cole Anthony's another thing with him. He's relentless with his training and stuff. He's always in the gym. He's a good kid. He doesn't hang
Mhm.
out. He has plenty of family and cousins and like extended family just from Craig Anthony knowing people, growing
Mhm.
up with celebrities and stuff in his life. But he's really like a home guy. He's with his younger brother playing video games,
Right.
at home and stuff. Even to this day, when you look at his Instagram, he's just playing with his kids. So
Yeah.
you find out all this stuff as time goes on, whatever. So it all has to do with the regret thing. But with Obi Toppin, how would you have played Obi Toppin if like what would have been the right thing to do if you're gonna draft for Obi Toppin? Like what situation would have been good for him?
Given with them knowing that Julius would have been good, or just going into the offseason knowing with what we know, with what we knew, thinking that Julius was going to get traded.
Well, I guess you could add a little bit of everything, because
Okay.
you say like a team like Chicago, they drafted Patrick Williams, so they were thinking forward, so they probably
Right.
should have drafted Obi Toppin. You know what I'm saying? Because
Yeah.
they,
Right.
they
Right. Right.
what do you think about that?
I think that would have made more sense for them if they were going to jump out the window and make a pick. It should have been something that made more sense. They ended up trading their big what's their big? What was the big?
Oh, Wendell, is it?
Wendell Carter Williams. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah. Wendell Carter Jr. I said Carter Williams. Wendell
yeah,
Carter Jr. I mean, of course, they get the guy from Orlando
yeah.
there, Vucevic. But I mean, it's I would have drafted Obi if I was them. Knowing what I know now, I would have drafted Obi. I'm not Patrick Williams had a decent season. I don't think it was anything like to prove he should have been the number 4 pick. But you know, I would have picked Obi if I was them. Now, New York, I understand why they picked Obi, because not only was he the best player, well, the most NBA ready guy in the lottery, they also just didn't know what they were going to get out of Julius. They didn't know if Julius was going to ask to be traded. They didn't know if someone was going to offer them a trade that would entice them enough to trade Julius. So I think them making Obi was more of the safe pick on both sides, on however it could play out with the team, and also because you're just picking the best player at that point. But I'm gonna be honest. I still would have went for Sadiq Bey at that point. You know what I mean? I get why they didn't go that high and pick him, but like I said, you got to go for shot makers. You need shot makers in this league, so that's what I look for when I look in a draft. I look for shot makers, and especially get them young. Get those shot makers while they're young, and then mold them for your style of play. But I understand. Like I said, I understand why they picked Obi there. I think it was insurance. I just think it was like they say, hey, worst case scenario, Julius Randle turns into a great candidate, and then we got this kid off the bench. And
Yeah,
that's exactly what happened. Worst case scenario.
yeah. Boom or bust too. They
Right.
picked the guy with the biggest potential
Yeah.
that they could possibly move him again down the line.
Hmm.
So I mean, how about this? Let's say if Chicago did the right thing and they drafted Obi Toppin instead of Patrick Ewing.
Yeah.
I keep saying Patrick Ewing, God, but instead of Patrick Williams, right?
Uh-huh.
How do you think the draft would have went? I think Cleveland still would have took Okoro.
Um, Obi going at 4. Okay, so you have LaMelo at 3, Obi at 4. Cleveland still picking. Would Cleveland pick Patrick Ewing? Patrick Ewing, look at you
Patrick
dissing me.
Ewing, Lord have
Look at you
mercy.
dissing me. As Knicks fans, that's the only Patrick we know. That's the problem.
Yeah,
Um, would Cleveland have picked Patrick Williams at that point? I think they probably could have. Is this they're both wings. It could have been a toss up at that point because nobody would have thought Patrick Williams would have been going 4th. So what I'm saying, for him to go 5th, I wouldn't have been surprised. Atlanta, Onyeka Kongu, I think they still would have went there. Detroit still would have went Killian. I think that they were looking for a guard. And I think at that point, if Obi Toppin's gone, we're definitely picking Tyrese Halliburton.
yeah, I believe that. But the guy, they were really high on Devin Vessel though. Just
Yeah.
around the Knicks media and stuff like that. The pressure would have been on to take Vassell at that point as well.
Well, I think the pressure was on for that, but I think they definitely needed a point guard more. And I
Yeah,
think the only reason why they didn't draft a point guard was because Obi, like I said, best player available kind of
yeah,
situation. So Obi's sitting there, they're like, listen, We pick, and I'm sure they looked at Tyrese Halliburton, they looked at Killian Hayes, and they looked at boomer bust potential between them two and Obi, and they said, might as well go with Obi because you can look at Tyrese Halliburton's game before he touched the NBA floor and say, I don't know how the shot's going to translate. You can look at Killian Hayes, like I don't know if he's going to develop a right hand. I don't know if he's actually going to be mature enough to be or strong enough to be a point guard in this league. So I can see them passing on them to go for a Devin Vassell if that opportunity was there. So yeah, I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, Kerry Lewis is another guy that was talked up in Knicks media too. They were I guess the pre-draft meetings and stuff like that. A lot of stuff was written about that, how the Knicks were impressed with him,
Mm-hmm.
and had the different guys on his side. So I guess a lot of
You
different
remember
things
I
could
was
have
I
went.
was a big Kyra Lewis fan, man.
Yeah, I remember. I remember.
Big Kyra Lewis fan, and then they threw him in the trunk in in New Orleans, so we haven't really seen much from him since. And then they
That's
threw freaking Eric Bledsoe on top of him. Come on.
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense. That's the point of all this too is that I put big that Obi Toppin is like a regret, but all these teams don't know what the hell they're doing. We just mentioned New Orleans. Why would New Orleans draft Kira Lewis if they already got like a shitload of point guards on it? They already had Alonzo Ball and Bledsoe, so their bright idea was to put Alonzo Ball as shooting guard and Bledsoe at the point guard, and run the offense through the other guy through freaking Zion. So
I
that
would
that
have
that
went
didn't make
Neesmith if I
sense.
was them. Honestly, I would have went Neesmith because you already had Lonzo. Didn't they already make the trade and they had Bledsoe by the end of the year last year, right?
Yeah,
So you had Bledsoe, you had Lonzo. I'm sure not I'm saying it out loud. They probably didn't know if they were going to keep either one of them for the entire season. That's probably why they drafted Kyra Lewis, to be honest
right.
with you. So
Yeah, I think
I
so
guess it
too.
makes sense. Makes sense. Because I mean, I'm surprised Eric Bledsoe is still on that team and they have to play him. You know what I mean? Like it sucks because they have to play the guy. You know what I mean? You can't just sit him on the bench and say, "Hey, we're gonna run with Lonzo and Kyra." Nah, that's not happening. So, and then same thing with Lonzo. You didn't know if he was gonna get traded before the deadline. So I mean, it was just that's and this is the biggest thing about the draft and players' potential in their careers. I say all the time, a player will always be as good as where he's drafted. You know
Yep.
what I'm saying? Even if you're drafted to a bad team, sometimes that could be a good situation because you will have a super high usage. You know what I'm saying? You put Obi Toppin on Detroit and you put Sadiq Bey on our team, and I guarantee Obi Toppin looks like a completely different player just because the ball would have been in his hands more. They would have had trusted him to run that. He would have been starting, honestly, if Obi Toppin was on the Pistons. He would have been starting. And that we wouldn't have the conversation that we're having about Obi Toppin right now. So it's always dependent on where you're drafted. I think that's a huge deal to a key to your development. And it can make or break careers. Like where's Trier right now? You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah, where is Trey right now?
I don't know. You know what I mean? And
Yeah,
to be honest with you, if you put him on the right team in the right situation, they would probably have Trier coming off the bench somewhere on a playoff team, maybe. You know what I mean? So it's always about where you drafted, man. It's even though it's a lottery, there's still some luck after the lottery because you gotta hope that you get drafted to the right place.
yeah. Now that I'm looking at these names and stuff, there's a bunch of guys that were really good. Of course, the top guys: Anthony Edwards, James Wiseman showed things. LaMelo Ball, of course.
Mm-hmm.
We talked about Patrick Williams and some of these other guys, but some of these other guys down below. Isaiah, we mentioned Isaiah Stewart. He actually played pretty good for wherever he went. Poku was playing good for OKC for the most part.
Mm-hmm.
Sadiq Bey we mentioned. Precious had a nice little run with Miami. Therese Maxey, I had a couple bright moments. RJ Hampton played well when he went to Orlando. Shout out to Emmanuel Quickly on our own team.
Mm-hmm.
He was really good for us.
Yeah.
Peyton Pritchard, he had his little. There's a bunch of guys here that had moments in this league this year, and I think going forward we're gonna look back at this draft about as many like rotation worthy players are here. Macaulay Flynn, Jaden McDaniels, even some of these other guys, Vernon Carey Jr.
Yeah.
Tyler Bay, a bunch of these guys, man.
Yeah, I'm a what were you saying before? Like they did say that this draft wasn't, and this kind of makes more sense for the Obi Toppin pick now. They did say that there weren't a lot of short things in this draft. After a certain, there's a significant drop off. They said that after the Lonzo pick, there was a drop off, which there was. You know what I'm saying? If we're being honest, Anthony Edwards, um, I keep saying Lonzo. Wow, Lamelo. What is wrong with us today?
I don't know.
Brain, dad
It's the
brain.
kids, man. The kids got us all jacked up.
Lamelo and Anthony Edwards. You know what I mean? Like after that, it was a clear drop off. James Wiseman, even though James Wiseman was also a top 3 pick, he wasn't on the level of Anthony Edwards and Lamelo Ball.
Right.
I just think that was a need pick right there. But yeah, I'm not mad at the Knicks picking Obi Toppin because, you know, out of just safety. I think Tyrese Halliburton would have worked well for us, but going forward, I'm not sure if Tyrese Halliburton would have been our point guard of the future. So would we really have solved our point guard problem by picking him? You know what I mean?
Yeah, and then I don't know if we would have picked Emmanuel quickly at 25 as well.
Right.
That might have caused a problem because maybe quickly might have gotten the chance because his jump shot was better. And,
Yeah.
a lot of different things playing to that, and then also too, everyone accuses Tom Thibodeau of not playing rookies, and he is guilty of that. There had to be a certain kind of rookie in order for him to give them burn, and I don't think Halliburton. Then again, you don't really know, man. This is all just speculation. We're just kind of just talking.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, how would what would make Obi Toppin successful just on any team, and then we'll talk about on the Knicks.
Obi Toppin. I was looking at some footage of him earlier. I would like to see Obi Toppin a little bit more patient and clear out in the post. I think he showed me a little bit more than I thought he had in his bag in the post. He was a little bit more confident in the post game than I thought he would be. He was better defensively than I thought he would be. There were some issues. The main issue I think everybody had with Obi Toppin was the fact that he just was continuing to launch these threes that finally started falling in like March.
Yeah, in the playoffs, right?
Yeah, right. So, it was for Obi Toppin to be successful. I think he needs minutes. That's the biggest thing there. Like I think that's the most obvious thing. He needs to play a lot of minutes. I think he needs to play at least 25 to 30 minutes for us to get the best Obi Toppin. I think he wins so many games wins so many 50-50 plays just off of effort that the more he's on the floor, I think he's just going to keep doing things while he's on the floor that you're like, oh my God, this guy. You know what I mean? Because sometimes it's not even about the flashy moves. It's the guy just being ready for a loose ball or just being ready for a putback. You know what I'm saying? Or just catching the ball at the right spot and just going up for a dunk. He's able to run the break. I do want to see a little bit. I don't want him running any point forward. I just do want to see him running some actions mid-range. You know what I'm saying? Like, have run a slight pick and roll. Like I've seen games where they ran a pick for him this year and he runs off the pick and he drives in the basket because the guy used to be a guard. You know what I mean? So he does have some skill with the ball in his hand. So he's not just your average power forward, because if you look at his game, yeah, he can get you in the post, but he can definitely outrun you on the fast break and outrun you. Now he's just doesn't just run on the fast break. He will outrun you on the fast break for alley-oop or anything. He's always in the dunker spot with his finger in the air like this. This is Obi all game long. It's just every time you see Obi, he'd be at the 3-point line like, yo, just throw that up. I'm gonna go get it. But you know what I'm saying? I think that Obi he needs more minutes, man. I think as long as he continues to work on his shot, I would like to see more high post, mid-range shooting, more of you know what? Without the injuries, I want to see a little bit of what we saw from a little bit of Blake sprinkled in with some LaMarcus with his shooting, because he can shoot the ball. I want to see him at that mid range with LaMarcus off the jab step. just off that, because he doesn't always have to launch threes. And I think that was something that he and quickly did. That didn't annoy me, but I was just ready to see the next stage, because they did not take any mid-range jump shots. You know what I'm saying? Um, they if they did it maybe 10, 20 times the entire season. You know what I mean? But I do want to see more mid-range game from Obi. And I think a little bit of Amari, run him in some low post sometimes. He can overpower some guys. He's faster than guys on the perimeter. So I think there's a lot of upside for Obi, but he just needs minutes. That's really it.
Yeah, he's got to eat his Wheaties too, because he's fast and all that. But I was making fun of him all year, man. The guy was like Bambi, running down like he just started walking, like a kid, like in a walker, running wild in a
He's a
walker.
big kid, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, one thing about Obi Toppin too, he's a late bloomer, So because like in the beginning of his career, he wasn't like highly touted, like recruited, that type of
Right.
thing. He wasn't like a big scorer until that third year. That's why he's so old. So that's something out and learn something. He goes crazy and not only gets better, but he goes from here to there. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I'm expecting. I don't want to put too much pressure on the kid where he's gonna be like where I want him to dominate so heavily. But the potential is there. Everything that you said from inside, outside, in between, all that stuff, running the floor, being just being like active, being available, always being available for any kind of play.
Yeah. On
I
both ends of the floor as well.
think that's definitely gonna be his role. I did a podcast a few months ago where I actually compared Julie Kale, because if you want them to be successful, Obi Toppin is gonna have to play a lot of minutes, like you said. So coming off the bench, Kevin McHale, he was on a steady incline as well. He went from like 10 points, whatever, then he went all the way to 27, started going crazy.
Right.
One of the best big men to ever play the game. But like I said, I'm not saying that Obi's going to be that, but in order for that to have that balance, I guess Randle's going to start, but then Obi Toppin, you got to find that mix on how he can be successful when he comes in the game.
Yeah, for sure.
But I just don't know how they're going to blend that in because their games are so different.
Who are you talking about? Julius Randle and Obi? Cause I think you kind of cut out a little bit.
Yeah, Randle's more of a face-up guy.
Yeah.
Oh, I got cut out.
Yeah, just a quick
All right,
second.
well, I was just talking about the style of play.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that something's going on with the audio.
Yeah.
But what I was saying about Randle is that he's more of a face-up guy. But Obi Toppin kind of is like all over the place. He could play any kind of spot. But when we're starting games, to basically change the way we play from one guy to the next.
If there's one thing I will point out about Obi Toppin and Randle, Obi Toppin is surprisingly more effective without the ball in his hands than Julius Randle.
Yeah.
And that's not no slight to Julius. He's more of a one-on-one kind of guy. So a lot of guys who grew up being the guy with the ball in his hands didn't really get an opportunity to know what to do with the ball, without the ball in your hands, to be honest with you. That's why a lot of the best players aren't great off-ball guys, because they grew up with the ball in their hands all the time. So I don't really blame a lot of guys who are ball dominant, who can't really play off ball, because they didn't really have a lot of opportunities to play de facto, or just to be a second fiddle or even third fiddle to anyone else coming up their entire lives. They were the best player. So, that's a detriment to a lot of these guys because they don't learn how to play team ball. Guys like Klay Thompson, the reason why he's so effective is because of his off-ball movement. You know what I mean? He doesn't like, how many times have we seen a game where Klay drops 30, 40, and then he put the ball on the floor 6-7 times the entire game? Because, that's just knowing how to be effective without the ball in your hands. And there's always room for a guy on a team for a guy like that. So I think Obi is one of those guys that I think he learned very early how to move off ball, and it's starting to show now. And I think that's why they played him in the playoffs a lot.
Yeah, I agree with you, man. Well, another thing too, like he came from nothing. Like you said, Julius Randle's a guy that always had the ball. He always was the man throughout his whole career. So Obi Toppin has a little bit of humility in his game, just in his personality itself. So I think, and I think for that reason, the potential for the Knicks to do well with both players is going to be good, man.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. I definitely agree with that.
So you want to talk about the select team?
Oh yeah, yeah. What's going on with that there? Um, didn't isn't that quickly out now?
Yeah, the COVID protocol stuff, showed its head again. Every time you think they were done with COVID, man, something else happens with that stuff.
And it's crazy because they said all three guys were just with the team the entire time. So I mean, it's like, well, hopefully not more guys start to experience some more symptoms and stuff like that. But hopefully quickly recovers well. He actually was vaccinated. So it's the life we live right now. This is what we're living. So unfortunately, he will be missing some time. I'm not sure. It might be over by the time he's out of protocol. The whole Team USA thing. I'm not sure if it will be or not because it's I guess 2 weeks or whatever. Actually, it's a shorter time if you're vaccinated, I believe. But if there's one thing with PJ Washington and who was the other guy? PJ Washington and somebody else that got was on protocol. It's another big. It's PJ Washington, Emmanuel quickly. Whatever.
I can't remember.
I
Was it
can't think of
Isaiah
it.
Stewart?
Isaiah Stewart, I believe. Was it Isaiah Stewart? I'm not sure. Either way, it was
What
another
what
guy
what?
who's a big. Yeah, yeah. It's two bigs, and that I was my point was that leaves more minutes for Obi Toppin to get out there and work with those guys.
Yeah, for that, because since he's a sponge, that's the best place that he could be. Oh, Bridges. Yep. Thank God for the chat, man.
Bridges, yeah, Bridges.
Castillo and Chris Rowe both said Bridges. Yeah.
See, you guys
Yeah.
make
Thank
the
God for
show,
the chat
man.
holding us down all the time, man.
Jesus, dad brain, guys. I don't have any kids.
I'm telling you, they take your life force from you, man. And you can't even think straight.
Oh man.
Well, like and stuff, and everyone's going crazy with this, that, and the other. This is how you get better. You get better playing with better players. Not just in the gym shooting around with Joe Smoes or somebody that's like trying to get into the NBA. That's who you're shooting around with. Guys like Obi, they're getting selected to the select team. They're playing with guys that are equal or better than them, and they got a chance to mix and mingle with other NBA players. That are greats. Kevin Durant and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Man, you quickly mentioned him. So for guys like Kevin Knox, just showing who they keep their company with in the summertime. Like last summer, Mitchell Robinson was hanging out with his cousins. Saying going between the legs, dribbling and shooting threes and stuff like that. That's the company that you keep in the summertime and you're trying to get better. So I have to question that, man. So the reason why guys don't get better because they're not around guys that are better.
Right. Yeah, and iron sharpens
So
iron, man.
I'm
That's usually how it is. You have to be around guys that are either like-minded or more advanced than you are. But because you can't be always have to be forward thinking. I think like you said, those videos of him dribbling around, I would never feel comfortable posting that on the internet if I was Mitchell Robinson. You know what I'm saying? And that's just simply because it looks foolish. You're not gonna do this in an NBA game. You know what I mean? We fell for that trap already. It's been 3 coaches you've played for. You haven't taken a jump shot. So I don't think it's the coaches anymore. I think it's a comfortability thing. I think it's something you're doing. It's cool that you can do off the court, pickup game kind of thing. But yeah, that the company you keep is very important. And like you said, Obi still getting to play with those guys. Quickly talked about Kevin Durant and him being able to work out and with Kevin Durant. And I think, you know, for him to be able to have a conversation with Kevin Durant and Kevin Durant to say, "Come and work out with me." As a basketball player, I don't care what we think of Kevin Durant, because we're not in the NBA. These guys don't think about it the way we think about it. They don't hate Durant the way we hate Durant. You know what I'm saying? Even though they play for the Knicks, they don't hate Durant the way we hate Durant. So I'm sure quickly took that as, oh my God, Kevin Durant, like possibly the best player in the league right now, is telling me he wants me to work out with him. And it's less about like I said to my boy earlier, people don't understand how cerebral the game of basketball is, man, and how important it is for it's not just the skill aspect, it's the drive, it's the mindset. Another thing, I'm sorry, I want to sidebar real quick. I'm watching this thing that came out. This is video about Kevin Knox. Kevin Knox working on his ball control. Did you see that? Is the dribbling and the shooting, the pull up game, and all of that?
Yeah, yeah. He had the do rag.
With the do rag,
What do you think is underneath the do rag?
huh?
What do you think is underneath there?
Some braids. He probably only put the do rag on because he didn't have any hang time. So he probably just wanted to throw the do rag on to cover it all up.
Yeah.
He's like, they'll see next season. By next season, I should have some hang time. But it was encouraging. I'm happy for him. I think he will be a good. I'll say this. I'm not gonna do that again, because I went out on a limb and said some stuff about him last year, and it didn't turn out well for me. So what I will say about him is this: I like the video. I'm always encouraged to see guys working on their game, but I cannot stand when someone is training and they don't train in game speed. It just drives me fucking nuts. When you don't train at game speed, it does not translate to the game. It just doesn't. Everyone I've ever trained with, everyone I've ever played ball with, listen, I'm not the greatest player in the world, but I know how to play basketball. I became well at basketball by training at game speed. You don't practice like no one's guarding you, because if you do that on the court, what's going to happen? You know what I mean? If you don't know what to do, if you don't practice what to do in situations, you're not going to be effective. Now, like I said, I don't want to beat him up. I want to see him more comfortable with the ball, and because that's what he needs to do. He needs to be more comfortable with the ball in his hands to get some creation. He needs to be a shot creator. And I think that's what the Knicks want him to do. If he's going to be there for this last year, you need to turn yourself into a shot creator. Look at what Devin Booker's doing. Look at this guy. That's what he needs to do. But I cannot stand when someone trains at practice speed and not at game speed. There is so many plays. It was a 7-minute video, and he did all of these transition moves that was sharp, nice, point to the point, and he gets past the guy, and then and I'm like, no, bro, go up. And if I was in there, shit. I'm telling you, I'm like, no, go do that shit again, bro. What the hell are you doing? Are you going to get to go up like that in the game? No, you're not going to get to go up like that. Kobe Bryant, one of the most important things that I've ever applied to, because I never liked Kobe growing up because I was a Tracy McGrady fan. So naturally, you just, I mean, it's like growing up a Melo fan. You're not really going to be a fan of LeBron. Just, right. Always respected Kobe's game. But there was one thing he said about training. He said, I always run hard, just like, any basketball coach. When we was on the basketball team, they made you run before they even rolled the ball out. They got you beat, tired before you even touch the basketball. Why? Because you're never going to be in the court and have a bunch of energy. It's never going to happen. Not once. Maybe at tip-off. After that, that's it. You're never going to be at 100% ready to go at somebody with some dribble moves. No, you're going to be fatigued. You're going to be tired. So that's how you have to train. You get yourself tired. So anyway, back to what I'm saying. Watching that video of Kevin Knox, great to see him trying to make an improvement in these strides, but practice at game speed or there will not be any improvements. So that's all I got to say.
Yeah, you mentioned Kobe, man, but he can go right to another young teammate, RJ Barrett. You know, when RJ
Yeah.
Barrett, he trains. Every time you see a training video, like he's going up, dunking, go ahead, again, again, again. He's doing like 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 dunks in a row because
And
that's
it
what his
shows.
trainer is doing. His trainer is training him to be aggressive. You know, to have that stamina, that second jump. That's what you're training for because this is what you want to be. You want to be a great player, so you got to train and get ready to play against to be that great player that you want to be. You know, him
Right.
dicking around with some dude that I don't even know who it is. I don't know who that guy was that he was training. Excuse me, that he was training with in that video. I don't know who he was. You know, but
Yeah.
I'm more excited about that kid than I am with Kevin Knox.
Right. Because
You
that
know,
kid
and
was
that's
he was practicing at game speed. You know what I'm
yeah.
saying? He was practicing that game, and that's why it bothered me because it was obvious because he's next to someone who's practicing at game speed, and he's over here 6'10", 6'9", 6'10", laying it up. There should
Not
never
even,
be a time you're laying the ball up when there's no one. Yeah, you're practicing, but bro, practice how you play. That's how you that's how you get better.
yeah. I wish I would have got your mixtape, the one that you put out, man. Because you got up there and dunked a couple times too. How tall are you?
I'm 6'4", man. That rim, it wasn't a 10-foot rim. It was probably like 9'10", 9'9". You know what I'm saying? You know those park rims where it's a little bit lower. So you know, it made it a little bit easier for me to get up there. But I mean, I still play for fun. Every now and then I'll go out there and I get shots up, and then people see me getting shots up, and they're like, "Yo, you want to run?" And then they see why I wanted to play by myself because I have no more lungs. Game's there. Look, it looks nice. No lungs though. No lungs. The lungs are all gone for a variety of reasons. But listen, I I I, I enjoy the game of basketball. Um, that's something that I can go to a park by myself and just shoot around for 2 hours. You know what I mean? And not even notice that the time is gone. It's it's one of those things. So yeah, it's if I put out a video, it'll look a lot like Kevin Knox at this point because I'll have no more lungs.
Yeah, that's why I mentioned it because, but your mixtape and Kevin Knox mixtape, I can't tell the difference. You know, people are saying,
Exactly.
you know, what I'm saying people are saying that Kevin, oh wow, look, he's working on his handle, he's getting better. Oh, look at his jump shot, looks good. Oh, he's gonna be great next year. They didn't see Apollo's mixtape. You know what I'm saying? Let Apollo's mixtape come out there. You know, and then what they gonna say about Apollo? Oh man, who's this guy Apollo? Man, we got to get him on the Knicks. You know, look at his jump shot. Look at him getting up there dunking the basketball. You know,
Ew,
people are
man,
just
that's
bugged
funny.
out, man.
That's funny. That's
Yeah.
funny. Yeah. I wish I had a shot. I'd sit in the bench. I'd be the Theo Pinson #2 on that team. I'd be right on the bench cheering them on every time. As long as I get to practice with y'all, I'm good. I don't got to play. Y'all go ahead, handle that load for me. I'll be over there in the practice arena ready. I catch all y'all. You know what I mean? I catch all y'all rebounds. You know what I'm saying? I'm there for y'all and on that realm, but that's it. It's over for me. Knees. Ooh, my knee's still hurting from that video that I put up.
I gotta get myself back together, man. That's the thing. No matter how old you get, no matter what it is, if you hear that ball bouncing, man, if you see it in your trunk, because I know you got a ball in your trunk.
Two of them.
Me too. I got I got two. I haven't played basketball. I haven't played basketball. I want to say like, well, actually, I got a chance to play on the Knicks court, but before that was like another year before that. You know what I'm saying? So technically, I haven't really
Yep.
played in like 3 years, man. But I got two
Wow.
basketballs in my trunk, bro.
Just
And I
to be
got a
ready.
pump. Yeah, just in case. I got basketball shorts back there too, like I'm about to run a full. Like, man,
I got two pair of kicks. I got a pair of LeBrons and a pair of Jordans back there waiting just in case. Just in case somebody wants some smoke.
yeah, man. So that's the love of the game. So, you
Mhm.
know, we kind of segue to Kevin Knox, but Obi Toppin got the love of the game.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? He got the worst fit of all young people in the NBA right now. He looks
Mhm.
crazy. He's sponsored by Jordan brand, but he's out there wearing the weakest clothes in the whole lineup, and he's wearing like the 99-cent store sweatpants with the cargo pockets or whatever, looking crazy. You know, just it has a Jordan logo on it, but it looks like he got it from the 99-cent store.
Right.
You
Yeah.
know, but
Yeah.
aside from that, he's not thinking about that. He's just thinking about this game. How can he get better? So
Mhm.
all of that is just it's just like a bright side to think. It's just something to look forward to because we got basketball guys on our roster, and that's beautiful, man.
Yeah. And we talked about it on the last show where you myself and State. Um, we don't want them to trade Obi. We don't want them to trade Quickly. We like these guys. We don't want them to trade RJ. How realistic is it that everyone is still on this team next year? All of those guys, we don't know. You know what I'm saying? But it feels good to have someone on your team that works hard, that loves the game, that's in the gym. I think he said he took a couple days break and he was just right back in the gym. Him, Quick, a couple other guys, and that's who we want on our team. And I know if RJ wasn't playing for Team Canada, that he would be there with them. You know what I'm saying? So I think those are the kind of guys you want. And like I said all the time, RJ Barrett is one of those guys as well. You won't see him all summer long. You're not going to see in these videos, or he might put out one or two videos the entire summer, but I don't even think it's him. It might be his trainer that'll put it out or someone else that'll put it out, because RJ is the kind of guy, he works in silence. And that's the kind of guys that you want on your team. You kind of want guys that don't care what everyone is gonna say. You don't want to put the flash out, like like we were talking about with Mitchell Robinson putting the video of him doing the crossovers and the pull up threes. Yeah, now it looks bad on you when you don't do it for an entire season. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what you get for putting that out there. We wouldn't be saying this if you didn't put these videos out there. You know what I'm saying? So, it's a little bit of what you want to see from those guys. Like I said, Obi and Quickly are the guys you really want to keep. Hopefully we can keep him here. I don't regret the Obi pick. I think it'll work out for us some way, shape, or form. And I think what they saw in Obi in the playoffs in particular, was the fact that he was even just ready for the moment, quickly as well. I think they're gonna be like, you know what, I think because he didn't look scared. He didn't look scared like the guy who's starting at his position. But if we're seeing that, I'm sure the front office is seeing that as well. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. We in a good spot. We got to keep our vision is to get guys that care more about the game than building it their own brand. That's what they all said in the beginning. So
Mhm.
we've drafted that way. We acquired players that way. We talked about Kelly Oubre. I meant to mention this when we were talking about him in the last show, but Kelly Oubre right off the bat is just talking about his money. Talking about opportunity. I'm quite sure him coming to the Knicks, I'm quite sure that's like number one on this list, because that's the mecca of basketball. All the lights will be on him, so he'll be able to build his brand, get his YouTube channel popping, or Facebook. Yeah, money, everything
Mhm.
else. He's everything else but, playing basketball. So that's definitely something that we're not looking at. It's fun to talk about just for conversational purposes, but
Yeah.
but really, like we have the right guys, and the front office, coaching staff, even the players that we have on the court, everybody's here for a reason. Everybody's on the same page,
Yeah.
and just looking forward, especially with Obi Toppin and just in the draft coming up. We have to keep that mentality too. Like, who are we bringing here that fits that mold of a hard worker?
Right.
Somebody that's a basketball, like a junkie. You know.
Yeah. Yeah. A gym rat. Yeah. And if there's one thing that I know, this season proved that they know how to find some gym rats. You know what I mean? Like, the only guys that stuck were gym rats. You know what I mean? Why wasn't Kevin Knox on the floor? It wasn't as much of a gym rat as these other guys. You know what I mean? I don't doubt that he works on his game. You know what I mean? But I think that, when you talk about video games and all of the other stuff that mean more to certain players than other players, all of these guys play video games. Don't think that all of them don't. RJ plays video games as well. But RJ puts in even more work on the court. So I think it shows, and that's what works. These guys know, they know how to draft the guys, and they know how to pick. They know to ask the right questions to the right players. I think if this regime was here for the past 10 years, would we have drafted the way we have drafted? Absolutely not, because a lot of these guys we drafted were just bad character picks. You know what I mean? Never mind the talent. It was character and motor for a lot of these guys. But yeah, man, I'm not worried about these guys drafting the right guy this year.
Yeah, absolutely. Isaiah Thomas is not walking through that door making any picks. Any like Chicago guys. There's no Chicago guys coming in there. Oh, he's from the South Side, so I gotta draft him. Or trading picks and to take a chance on guys. I was messing with State last night because we were talking about centers and stuff. So I referenced Jerome James, about getting better because he mentioned that he wanted to pay Mitchell Robinson 70 mil. He just kept saying 70 mil. So I threw Jerome James out
For
there
how
because
many
Jerome
years?
James, before we paid him, we didn't even get there. We was laughing about it. But Jerome James, he had a good playoff run the that playoffs before he got signed to the Knicks. He was playing
Mm-hmm.
with Seattle, and I think they beat the Sacramento Kings. So it was big for Jerome James
Right.
because Sacramento waived him, and then he ended up on Seattle, and then that was his story. So he had a good playoff
Wow.
run with Seattle. So that's what got him the contract with the Knicks. Because Isaiah said, "Hey, I see him playing good over there, so let me give him a shot." So he came on to the Knicks, and the rest is history with that. He was like one of the like the least hardest workers that ever played the game.
You got to be careful when you
But
get guys from other teams
Isaiah's not
because
here.
because you just gotta be careful because that guy could be perfect for that system. You know what I mean? And you don't want to take him out of that system and put him in yours because then it just might not work. You know what I mean? So I think that's probably exactly what happened with Jerome. And he came here and got his bag. Definitely got his bag.
Well, Seattle too. Seattle's always raining, so you can't go outside to get snacks. New York, there's snacks all over the place. You know what I'm saying? That's why they call them big snacks. As soon as he came to New York, he was like, "Oh shit, there's vending machines. I can go to the corner store all hours of the night." What? You know what I'm saying? So he probably lost his mind when he got to New York, because
As
Seattle's definitely not
many
like
do.
that. Yeah.
Right.
All right, man. Anything else you want to add to the conversation, the Obi Toppin thing?
Nah, man. I think Obi has a bright future, even if it's not in the Knicks. I think he will be a very good player because he just has the drive, um, the twitch, the quick twitch, the athleticism, the speed, the IQ. On top of that, I think he has a lot of kinks to work out, but he just wants to get better. So I think Obi has a bright future. Hopefully we can keep him for the majority of his career, and maybe he'll be part of a championship team one day. We'll see what happens, but we got to get through this next couple years or even a year because if he makes it out of this storm within the next year, I think he's stuck. He's stuck here. I think he'll be stuck here.
Yeah. I think it's very important to keep talent on the roster. Everyone wants to package this guy to move up to do this, that, and the other. But a lot of times you just got to just keep guys around. Obi Top is coming off the bench and this, that, and the other. But Derrick Rose is here. Emmanuel Quickly's here. We got Luca Vildoza. That's a gift. I think that's gonna be we're gonna look back. With our story, if we even get, if let's say if we get to that championship, we're gonna look back to the days where all this stuff was happening, and we're gonna be amazed about the talent that we were able to accumulate during this little small piece of time. So I just think we just got to keep being positive. That's very important. Ever since I started doing this podcast, I just trying to put it out there that Knicks fans themselves, we kind of shoot ourselves in the foot with the way that we talk. We played Atlanta, and everything was fuck Trey Young. We're gonna sweep them and all sort of. That's all negative. And then look
Now
what
look,
happened. We got embarrassed.
yeah, just because too much,
Yeah,
just stay
it's
quiet
the energy.
and watch the game. Yeah, just watch the game sometimes.
Yeah.
One thing that I do want to add that you mentioned, and that was Luca Vildoza. I think he will be a key piece for us. I think there's a lot of skills that I saw that will translate to this team. His ability to shoot off the dribble, his confidence to shoot off the dribble, his court vision. I think we might have found a gem. I'm not going to call him a Luca kind of gem, but more of like the kind of guy you find overseas, like a Manu, that just fits perfectly and plays the right role. I think I'm seeing flashes of that with him, and if we can get that, he's the perfect kind of point guard we need for Obi Toppin. He looks like those guys over there. They run pick and roll and they sleep. You know what I'm saying? So I'm sure that's something he's salivating every time he sees them. Yo, listen, I'm running that pick and roll every time we're open. He gonna go catch that. Because like we said the other day, you're not really gonna see a lot of pick and rolls with Julius that end in a finish at the rim off of an alley. You know what I'm saying? He's more floor bound. He's going to catch it and go up strong, absorb the contact. But going over someone is not Julius's forte. And I think that's, we saw that towards the end of the season. We missed a lot of that high flying stuff with Mitch because, Mitch just caught everything. You know what I'm saying? You saw how much Nerlens didn't catch anything,
Right.
As they call them, stick hands. But I think Luca Vildoza is a guy that will be a key piece for us going forward. I think we might have found one there.
Yeah, those are Argentinas, man. I would love to visit Argentina because it seemed like everybody over there got a handle. Like
Yeah.
there was one play, one of the videos that Luca had. The guy's playing defense on him, and all he did was boop boop. Right behind his back, like it was nothing.
Yep.
It still got his head
Yep.
up.
Yep.
So that to me that gets my juices flowing when I see stuff like that.
Yeah. Creation, shot creation, and just being able to keep your dribble alive. I think that was something that I was talking about or watching someone talk about RJ Barrett is one of the things he doesn't do. I think it was Legion in the next podcast. He said one of the things he doesn't do well is keep his dribble alive. And that's something that you want to see more from RJ because that stems from confidence. You don't ever see Dame, Steph, CJ McCollum, even you don't see them picking up their dribble unless they're completely double teamed. And that's the kind of thing you want to see from your guard. The guy's gonna have the ball in his hands all the time. Like, I'm not gonna lie, even Alfred kept the ball alive. You know what I'm saying? He could get to the basket. He just could not finish. He could not shoot. If you're going to be a guard in this league, you have to do one of the two. You can't be bad at both. And I think that's what we saw with that. It gets me every time, man.
Yeah, he's blind in one eye. That's why, man.
Yeah,
he only saw one direction. Yeah,
that's it.
Yeah, man. So that's good stuff, man. I love having you on. I call you the genius, man. You're the genius. Apollo Reed, the genius.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it. Always fun being on here, man. And shout out to the chat as well. They always show love, man.
They holding us down, especially with our dementia that we got developing over here. But I can't remember players' names and all kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, man. So once again, you can see on the right hand picture up here, so guys can see it. That's another thing too. There's something goofy going on with the system here. I don't know if it's me or what, but that's Guard Up Knicks right there. Guard Up Knicks podcast.
Yes,
you can find them on YouTube. Are you still doing the audio stuff too? Put it on audio.
I haven't. I think I have to. It's just a lot of time. I don't have do a little bit extra stuff. The little bit that I do now, I've been trying to keep up with. So once I stay a little bit more consistent, I'll start putting everything back on a pod. And yeah, that's really it's just a lot. It's a lot right now. I got a lot going on, but sooner or later I'll get there. I'll get back to it.
Same for me too, man. But once we do rock, these are all the different places you can find us with the audio stuff. Mm-hmm. But it's not easy, man, because we don't do this full time. We have kids, family, and stuff like that. So the stuff that we do here, believe it or not, takes a lot to do this. And a lot of it is last minute, right? And we're coming off the top of the head. It's not like we got like pre-made scripts and stuff like that. This is all off the love of Knicks basketball, man.
I'm sure, just like me, all of this stuff for the pictures, the posts, all of the overlays and all of that starts an hour before the show starts. That's not something we're preparing days and weeks ahead. Like, no, man, we just got it going right now. But that's what makes it fun, man.
You see this right here? This what did they call it? A thumbnail. Yeah, I did this while I was driving on the highway, man.
Yo, listen, whenever you can get it made,
and it was raining. Yeah, we had a tropical storm coming through New York City today, man. I'm on the highway. Yeah.
I saw it. Yo, somebody's Benz was stuck underwater, bro. I was like, yo, it's crazy.
Yeah, like for some reason the New York City sewer system is shooting water, man. Because I was driving through Harlem and I felt like there was pools all over the place.
Matter of fact, that's right. The video that showed that Benz that was underwater, there was like, the sewer was like shooting water up, like from under the water. I'm like, where's that water coming from? And I guess it's shooting up from the sewer. I'm like, what the hell is going on here?
Yeah, man. Something that's something that needs to be addressed too, man. Because every time a little bit of rain happens now, that seems to be the new thing. The water shooting out the sewer.
That's crazy.
So God knows what these people are doing, man. Maybe it's I don't know. I don't want them to activate anything that they shot up in me. You know what I'm saying? To turn me into some kind of sleeper cell or something like that. So I'll keep my conspiracy theories to myself. So on
Yeah.
Instagram, it's guard up Knicks. Look for guard up Knicks on Instagram.
Yes, sir. Matter of
Same
fact, I'm
thing
gonna
on
put it in the
Twitter.
chat right
Everybody's
now.
on Twitter. So Diet
Hmm.
Knicks podcast on Twitter. Guard up Knicks on Twitter. Yeah, you know, and
Yeah.
that's how we do it, man.
Yes, sir. Thank y'all for watching, man. Y'all the dopest.
Dopest. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
thank you for having me on, man. Always from jump, man. Like I always try to show love where it's due. Eru was always the first dude to give me advice on everything. Anything he learned, he was like, "Yo, man, this is what you do it this way." And I wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for my man Eru. So, as always, gotta show love, bro. Appreciate you.
Yeah, no doubt, man. Your brother and your cousin too. Like when I first heard you guys, I thought you guys were dope. So I'm
Appreciate
always I'm always rooting for you guys to keep going. Like I said, it's hard. It's hard to keep doing it, man. But you got if you love it, you find the time. And
right,
and if
right,
you,
right.
and if you can't do your own, you're welcome to come here anytime you want to.
Anytime, and on mine too. Speaking of, might do a show tomorrow, so you're more than welcome. If dad life ain't calling at the moment, so yeah, just let me know if you're available.
Yeah, no doubt, man. No doubt. All right, man. Enough of this lovey-dovey stuff, man. I see you soon, bro.
Word, man. I see you later, man. Take care.
All right, no doubt.
All right.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in. We'll catch you guys on the next one, man. Peace.